Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Dana, and I am doing a life update. I'm also gonna be getting ready for the day. I've not done my hair, so please excuse that. And my face is very dry at the moment because I just did a video on a few sunscreens and I had to wash my face quite a bit. So I'm just gonna start putting product on my face because it feels so dry. This is what happens when you wash your face a lot for a video. But the first product, and I'm not gonna be talking through all of my products, but I'm trying some right now and I figured I'd try them on camera. So this one is from Dr. BRANDT. This is Hydrating Serum-To-Highlighter. I don't really understand it, but it feels nice on my face at the moment because my right here is so dry. But oh my goodness guys, this is gonna be so chatty. I have so much to update you on. I don't really do like chatty life update videos. So, hey, here's the first one. But I figured this was a good time to start. My face feels a little bit better. Still very dry though. I guess I'll just tell you about the new products I'm using just so I don't have to tell you about them later, and then we'll just get into the talking. The first one is a sunscreen from IS Clinical. This is Eclipse SPF 50. Then I'm gonna be trying the ERNO, why can't I say that? ERNO LASZLO Shake It Tinted Skin Treatment. And then the KVD, full sleeve tubing mascara. So those are the new products. I think everything else I may not have shown on video, but is not new. So now let's just get into life. And I have a list of what I want to talk about because there's so much and I was like, I'm gonna forget it. So let's get into it. The first one is my health. I have been going through it feels like so many health issues lately, and it's just been a lot. So I think if you follow me over on Instagram, if you don't, here's my handle. It's just my name, Dana Ripperton. I have been, whoa, that pumps out a lot. So I think it's 2 pumps maybe, yeah, okay. I've been dealing with what I have thought was GERD or gastroenterologist. I don't know what GERD stands for. I should know. Acid reflux, but like on a regular, consistent basis. I've been dealing with that since the beginning of June and it is now the beginning of August. So I've been dealing with it for a long time. And oh, this is nice. And I've talked to many doctors. They are also very hard to get appointments with, especially if you're going with like a GI doctor. So that's been very hard and troubling just because like, I feel like I tell them what I'm going through and they're like, have you tried Prilosec? And I'm like, yeah, for like weeks and weeks and weeks. Have you tried sleeping upright? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't help. Or it doesn't actually, I don't like it. It doesn't feel better to me. So I've tried lots of things. I had an endoscopy yesterday, which was very fine. It felt like I took a nice nap and it didn't show anything. And then they're like, why don't you just take 2 Nexiums instead of 1? So I'm gonna do that. It's felt better lately. I'm pretty convinced that I did have a stomach ulcer back in June, and just because I couldn't get an appointment and I still don't have my full endoscopy until October, the end of October. It's just insane. It's like absolutely insane how long it takes to get appointments these days. Oh yeah, because I couldn't get an appointment that I don't think I could ever confirm that I did have an actual stomach ulcer. But that is my thinking. I really truly believe that I did. I had a lot of the signs like where I would eat and then 5 minutes later I'd be like starving, like famished. And the nurse concurred with me, but the doctor said she saw nothing on the endoscopy. So that's what it is. And I don't feel terrible these days. I really am functioning pretty well. And maybe I just need to stop thinking about it and stop talking about it, and then I won't kind of like know that it's present, that kind of thing. But that's also hard because especially like when I'm rubbing my throat, I can feel the pressure there. But that's been one thing. Also, I've been going through IVF, which I talked about in another video, and I said I'm probably not going to talk a lot about, and I think that still remains true. I don't plan on talking a lot about it other than to say this is my last cycle. I'm starting today actually. By the time you see this, I will be done. And I'm probably not gonna like talk about it in the comments. It's just not something that I feel compelled to talk about. I really admire people that have Instagram accounts for IVF and talk about it everywhere. For me, it's just a personal personal thing, and you know, I'll leave it at that. But it's been a huge stressor. My insurance was covering a lot of it and now they are not. So, you know, stomach ulcer, hello, I know why you're there or why you were there. I also had a sick cat. A lot of these updates, if you follow me over on Instagram, you probably will have seen them. And yes, I just used the full 1/4 teaspoon. That's a lot over the glowy serum thing that I used. This is pretty intense for the level of glow that I already had. So I need to go wash my hands and then we'll get back to the chit chat. Okay, this is a very glowy sunscreen, but it looks very nice. It does have a little bit of a tint or cast in my eyebrows, not 100% invisible. The next thing, and I'm not gonna talk through all of them, but this is a new product. ERNO LASZLO is like supposed to be the skincare like junkie guru, not junkie, but guru for like stars back in the day like Marilyn Monroe. Their social media does not show that they are like super up to date with the times, but I'm gonna be trying this. You're supposed to like shake it, then put it on a thingy, and it's supposed to be like skincare, but also a bit of a tint. My concern is that it's just gonna wipe all my sunscreen off. So I did let the sunscreen sit for a little bit, but I'm just not convinced that this is not just taking off all my sunscreen. But this is maybe gonna help like tone down the glow that I have. I don't like the packaging. I will just say that out loud. It's very, very messy. Anyway, back to life updates. So yeah, I have a lot going on. Obviously that's been quite stressful with IVF. I have my sick cat. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor, so she has brain cancer, but she's on prednisone, which is pretty common drug, and it's helped quite a bit. Like she's back to being able to like move and function and eat and all that stuff. She's not really her old self. Like she used to go exploring in our yard and like in the woods near or behind our house. She's an outdoor cat and she doesn't really do that as much. But it's like, what do you want? Do you want her to be alive or do you want her to be back to her old self? And like, I don't know. So the trade-off is we have her and she's okay and you know, she's happier, but she's not what she used to be. And you know, we'll take it for as long as we can have it. So this is nice. I mean, maybe I just use this to like tone down sunscreens, but it's not really covering my skin like tint wise. I'm not really leaving the house today, so I'm not worried if the sunscreen gets worn off, but yes, that's that. You know what? I think I'm gonna use my old MAC Face and Body, like the original one. It's for special occasions, like when you're not leaving your house. Anyway, so what was I saying? Lots of stress. Yes, Bebe is doing better. We actually took her on a 9-day trip to New York, where my husband's from. He's from New York City. And so we have to take her because she has to have medication every day, and it just seemed to be too much to like ask the pet sitter or my mom to do. And she did really well. I think she's happy to be home, but that was, you know, an adventure traveling with a cat. We had a little harness for her. We bought that and she got used to it. She did not like it. Cats don't like anything on their back. If you've ever tried a harness on a cat, it's like, I read it online somewhere and I'm just gonna choose to believe this is true, even if it's not. But it was like, cats don't like a harness or a leash or whatever because they've never had to feel the weight of anything on their back. That is the most accurate description of a cat ever. Like, what a blessed life. Like they've just, no, I don't want anything on my back. So then we took her off of it once she got comfortable with where we were. We were just at my husband's family's house in Westchester County. And then we went up to the Catskills. So that was a lot of fun. It was a little bit more rugged than Westchester County. If you know New York, you understand that. And she got to, you know, go outside and go to the pond and everything. She actually caught a vole. People, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people don't know what voles are, but they're like little woodland creatures. They're very small. Kind of like a mouse, but I don't actually know if they're actually like a mouse, but in size. She caught that, so that was really exciting. Like, that's more like the Old Bay. So, and it's also nature, don't worry, like cats catch things. I'm sorry if that offends you, but that is their nature. You can't stop that. So we were, you know, very happy about that. And that was just a nice break, a nice reprieve from all the other stresses of life. I did not work out. I didn't do anything. I didn't eat like crazy, but it was just like a very nice break amidst all the other stresses of life. And knowing that I was coming back, you know, and doing another IVF cycle, it was just very nice and very timely to do that. And that's just kind of what it was. So the other thing I have been trying to implement more as of late. So I've always worked out, like for the last 10, 15 years, I've been a constant worker-outer. I hate that I have to say like in a healthy way, because it's like, there's so many times where people that work out, like if they work out 6 days a week, you're like, what are you doing? You work out too much. And it's like, no, it should be the opposite. Like you sit on your ass on the couch all day. Like, what are you doing? Like, I know there's like an extreme if you work out to the max, like over exercise, that is a problem. But also sitting on the couch all the time and never moving and never exercising is a problem. So I always get like a little hesitant because it feels like you can't say that you exercise without people being like, why do you do that so much? Like my mom. But anyway, I was doing weight training. I was doing like strength, cardio kind of stuff. Not a lot of cardio actually, more strength. But I did find, and I love it, but I think for this time in my life, where like my stress level is just like here, like I can feel it in my body, I needed to take it down a notch. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing Pilates and I'm doing yoga. So I'm doing yoga twice a week and I'm doing Pilates twice, maybe 3 times. Again, I like to work out. It like keeps me sane. It keeps me healthy in like mentally, but I also just like moving my body. I've been an athlete my entire life. So it feels weird. It feels worse for me to not work out than to work out. I think I still need some bronziness on my face. And I'm gonna go with my favorite. This is the Rare Beauty bronzer. And then this is the 04 from RèPHR brush. This is great for any cream product. And I just go like this. It's much, I feel like this is a very strong bronzer, so you don't need to go like that on your face. If you just put it on the brush, it tends to work a little bit better for me. So yeah, yoga and Pilates right now. I'm also doing acupuncture. Well, I'm not doing it. I'm laying on the table. Guys, acupuncture, why have I been sleeping on it? It's pretty amazing. I went this past week and my normal guy, he was sick, so I had a different woman who was just as educated and amazing. And as I was laying there, I was laying on my back and she had just put the needles in and left the room. I started crying, like full on crying, like tears coming down my face. And this is not the first time that I've cried during acupuncture, but my eyes were closed. It sounds weird to say I had visions, but in the best way. Kind of the things that I'm hopeful for and, you know, mentally thinking about all the time. I don't know if I talked to you guys about it, but back in January, my husband and I went to Peru, which was a trip of a lifetime. I wish I'd had more time to actually like see the country, but we went on a retreat for ayahuasca. His brother is a shaman in training. I know you don't hear that often, but it's what he is. And it was life-changing experience. It really, truly was just something out of this world that I could never try to replicate. And I could do a whole video on what I felt and experienced in that. I'm also gonna use this little tester of the Laura Mercier. I like this one a lot because it's very subtle. It's Provence shade. I'm almost out of it. And then I'm gonna mix it with a little of this Drunk Elephant O-Bloos. This is very bougie. But yeah, I keep looking down, so I'm sorry, but I can't look at the camera while I'm trying to put makeup on. I'm using the same brush because why not? I saw my brother in acupuncture. My brother passed away 5 years ago, and you know, he was one of the people, one of the like visions that I saw when we were in Peru. Very powerful experience, very emotional experience, and he was here again in my acupuncture. So it's like you don't even need to take ayahuasca to have visions. It was incredibly powerful for me, incredibly moving on like a Thursday in Durham, North Carolina, not like in Peru. So I am a full-on believer of acupuncture. Not only does it help mentally, but also like when I have stresses, I can feel it just kind of erasing the pressure and the stress in my body. So if any of you are wondering about acupuncture, I highly recommend it. I just recommend finding a good place. I mean, I'm sure there are great places and bad places, all the same, but a good place is really, I think, worth it if you are considering it. I'm also doing some supplements. So I have had anemia for like over 10 years, and I'm always kind of like borderline anemic. Iron pills are the devil if you've ever tried them. They don't do anything for your body. They make you constipated. It's not a good look. This Thrive Cosmetics, what is it? Focus Eyeshadow Palette number 3. I've used up almost this. It's just a really solid matte formula. And I like to just use the like white, off-white shade to kind of give my eye, or what's it called? This area, what is that called? Upper eyelid? Like a base coat, because they can be quite red. I am taking, instead of iron now, I'm taking beef liver supplements, because basically I've been eating as a vegetarian for probably 7 or 8 years. Not like 100%. I'm pretty lax about my vegetarianism, but I'm not getting enough iron, and that is a problem for a lot of women because we bleed, but also if you are a vegetarian and you're not getting it in some other form, which was me. So I'm supplementing that with the beef liver, which is fun. Now I'm gonna use this other shade just to go in the crease. And you don't need a lot of this stuff. It's pretty pigmented. But yeah, so the supplementation, the yoga, the mindfulness work, I do feel like it's helping, but you know, I also just kind of drive myself to a level of like stress where like for YouTube or for work, I put a lot on my plate and then I'm stressed out because I put a lot on my plate. So it's a very hard thing to kind of overcome, but it's also, you know, what it is. The other thing that I'm doing, because I feel like I've talked about all these stresses in my life, but I'm also trying to like weave in how to de-stress, because if you're like me and you are stressed out and you have issues and people are like, just don't stress. Does it not just make your blood boil? Like, it makes my blood boil. So like, don't ever tell somebody who's stressed out to just not stress, because if it were that simple, they wouldn't be stressed. It's a really, really insensitive thing to say, honestly. And maybe it's not even insensitive, it's just that people don't think before they speak and they're just trying to say something to fill the void, but just don't say anything. Those people are trying their best and they are dealing with stress in the way that they can. And sometimes to deal with stress, it costs a lot of money. Like, what am I doing? I'm going to yoga, Pilates, acupuncture. Add to that, what I was about to talk about is riding. I'm gonna get back into horseback riding. This is hundreds and hundreds of dollars because none of that's covered by insurance, even though insurance is the reason that I'm stressed out because they stopped paying for my IVF. So if you're ever dealing with somebody who's stressed, just, unless you can truly help them, don't offer any suggestions, because there are so many stresses in life these days, and a lot of the things that we want to do that can help de-stress us are either too time consuming, they're too expensive, or you know, we just don't have the access or the money or the time. Maybe you have kids and you don't have time for all that. I get it. So that's what that is. I also have really been liking this Victoria Beckham eyeshadow, but not just for the shadow. Where's my brush? For this lightest shade of brown, it's a really nice subtle eyeliner. So I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna turn the camera off because this takes me a long time. Even though you won't notice that it's on, it takes me the most time. So, BRB. Okay, I think I've got my very minuscule liner on. I need to powder a little. So I'm using the Givenchy Prisme Libre. It's the best. Truly is a little powder puff. So yeah, like, have lots of stresses, but also am making a very concerted effort to de-stress and find ways to, like, not only that are de-stressing for me, but that make me happy. Like, I think did I say it that I'm gonna get back into horseback riding? Yeah, I did. I used to ride competitively when I was in high school and college, and it was something that I stopped everything else that I did. Like, I used to play basketball and softball and volleyball, and once I got into riding like more competitively in high school, I stopped it all. I played basketball my freshman year and then stopped. And I was like, I don't want to play basketball, I want to ride horses, and that's all I want to do. And that is something that I don't regret for a second. It was the best thing that ever happened to me in life. I chose the college that I chose because of the fact that they had a riding program there. Riding horses brings me more joy than almost anything in this world. So getting back into riding, I have 2 barns kind of lined up in this area that I'm gonna go see if I can like, and not take lessons, well yes, take lessons, but like check them out first before I go and see which one I like and see which one would work for me. One's only 15 minutes away. This is a Natasha Denona. I'm just gonna put a little glitter on because why not? I have to put a little bit, like a little, just a little. Yeah, so I'm gonna get back into riding, hopefully. I mean, I've tried to get back into it over the past few years, or when I was maybe 8 years ago, and it's very hard as an adult because the barn that I went to before, they didn't have anybody else there. It was just me like riding this horse by myself, which of course I want to ride, but like part of being at a barn is riding with others. This is not the shadow I want. I need to find a different glitter. All right, we'll use the Patrick Ta. It's got some glitters. You know what? I never used this one. Yeah, riding as an adult is a lot different. Like if you are a horse person, you know, like if you rode as a kid, like your barn had barn kids, like barn rat kids, and it's just very much kind of centered on like as a youngster, if you will. Wow, that makes me sound old. And as an adult, it's a lot harder to find a place that kind of, I don't necessarily need it to cater to adults, but I just don't want to be there with all like 10-year-olds. So that is a big thing. I am gonna try a few barns out in the area, and I think it should be a good time. The other thing that I have been dealing with for years, which I've never ever mentioned on here, is migraines. I've been having migraines as long as I've been riding horses, if not longer. So I remember my very first migraine was at the barn, and I was holding the horse that I rode, and he was getting his shoes on. So they put horseshoes obviously on a horse. That's what those are for. And I was holding him, the farrier was there, he's getting shod, and all of a sudden, like my world just started getting black. I was maybe 12 and I didn't know what was going on, and it was just me and the farrier, and I didn't want to bother him basically. So I just stood there holding the horse as my world got black, like completely black. It went from like just slowly kind of dwindling black to fully black. And I finally kind of like, after I don't even know how much time, it just like started to reappear. I had vision again, and I had a pounding headache, and that was my first migraine. And since then I've been getting migraines pretty regularly my whole life, and I have medication for it, so I can pop that when I get a migraine, but I can also take other meds that tend to do the job. But the problem is, the more it's like it builds on itself, so it like snowballs. So when I start getting a migraine, like I'll get one, I don't know, today. I hope I don't, but, and then I can make it go away, but I'm kind of like out of it for a day. It doesn't actually give me a bad headache usually. I might have like a slow, like low headache, but then I actually will have like nausea. I'll feel really bad. I tend to lose my vision, and it's just like a 24-hour period of me not feeling great. And that can, you know, be pretty shitty if you're having that like one day and then a few days later, like that's a lot of bad days. And so what I finally decided to do, I talked to my doctor, and the medicine is fine because it helps when you get the migraine, but it doesn't prevent them. And so what we tried and what we're trying now is Botox. So not only does that prevent migraines, but it also prevents wrinkles. So I got Botox in my forehead. I forget where the different spots are for migraines, but they're pretty similar to where you get them for forehead wrinkles, which is great because my forehead lines are the ones that are like, I move my forehead a lot when I speak. So I have it in my forehead, and then you can also get it behind your back and in your, I think, shoulders. But we're gonna try like a very kind of, what's it called, modified minimal version first and see if that works. So far, I haven't gotten a migraine since I got it. And I also, but I don't know, like maybe it's one of those things, as you start using it, you need more to like keep the migraines at bay. But I did get Botox, which I don't know, it's pretty great. It's pretty great for a lot of reasons. I don't have to worry about my lines, and then I also don't have to worry about my migraines. So, I feel like people are always curious about it. I think in this day and age, if you want to do something to your face or your body or whatever, you should do it. And as long as you're okay with whatever the risks or whatever things are associated with it, for me, it made sense. It was killing two birds at one stone. But, you know, I am on YouTube, so I wanted to be transparent about that, and we'll see how it works. I think right now, I'm feeling pretty good. It's like the one thing in my life that's working. And yeah. Okay. The last thing we have is the Tubing Mascara from KVD. It's got a really unique wand. It's like the bristle, the plasticky bristles, but the shape of it is very hard to capture on camera. But I'm gonna put that on as I talk to you about the last thing on my list. The fact that my husband is in Florida right now, and he's down there because his biological father, who was not somebody who raised him, but you know, still his father, passed away, and he is inheriting the apartment that he lived in, and it's not in great shape, but my husband is a contractor, so he's gonna be renovating it and trying to sell that, so that's really exciting. It's also like, I don't know, we haven't really been apart, or since we moved in together. I went to the Virgin Islands 1 year with my dad and his wife and her kids, so we were apart for that like week, but otherwise we're pretty much together. Or like maybe I'll go away for a weekend with my girls, or my girlfriends, my girls. So he's gonna be down there just for 5 days, scoping it out, kind of, almost got it in my eye. Scoping it out, seeing what it's like, and then he'll come back, and then he will go down eventually for probably like 2 months, but I'll probably go down either like for a few weeks at a time or just like shorter times, because I can work from anywhere. The issue though is our cats. Like, do I bring them with us? Do I not? But it's kind of cool. It's like exactly what he's been wanting. He is a contractor. It lately hasn't been doing house remodels as much as he wants, just because of the market and like the economic climate. But this one just fell into his lap. I mean, it's an unfortunate circumstance because, you know, his father, but it's happenstance, and it just kind of worked out. So now he's really happy to be kind of putting his skills back to use, as I am putting my skills to use, putting on mascara. I'm so fancy. Anyway, I think that's it. This mascara is very va-va-voom. Like, if you want a normal, natural look, this mascara is not for you, but it does give you a nice, like, a lot of volume. So, whew, I feel like my Apple Watch is gonna be like, did you just go for a run? Because when I'm talking this much, it really, like, elevates your heart rate. It makes me sweat. I sweat doing anything. But yeah, I hope that was enjoyable. This is pretty much my everyday makeup these days. I might have to go out and purchase this. I don't know what it is. It's such a natural blush. I don't like liquid blushes for the most part, because I feel like, look at this. I put that much on my little, this is my White Barn Candle palette, and I have so much left. So it's very wasteful. It's not the best delivery method, but actually mixing it with the O-Bloos is like a very nice and very expensive mix that I've enjoyed. So this is what we've got. I will have everything linked below. If you're interested in any of them, just check them out. And if you have any questions about what I talked about, you know, lots of good stuff happening, lots of bad stuff happening. We're just trying to get them so they're like this, and then get them to marry in the middle so that the good outweighs the bad, or maybe doesn't outweigh it, but, you know, levels it out. And I know everyone's going through stuff, so I'm not complaining at all. I'm just telling you guys what my life is like and what's going on. If you want more of this, follow me over on Instagram at Dana Ripperton at, I was gonna say my email. No, Dana Ripperton, because I do tend to do a lot of like everyday stuff where I'm like, hey, taking a picture of myself getting my endoscopy, you know, that kind of stuff. And I post some like sneak peek reels and whatnot over there as well. But now I need to go eat because I'm hungry. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is a long one. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.